Clothing rental services promise a sustainable alternative to fast fashion. Experts say it depends. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share for weddings, vacations, or other special occasions. More consumers are turning to clothing rental services instead of buying something new. These subscription-based services, often marketed as a sustainable alternative to fast fashion, ship straight to customers everything from everyday and workwear to dresses, handbags, and formalwear. Then, the items are returned for someone else to use. Clothing rental services are often marketed as a more sustainable alternative to fast fashion. The subscription-based services allow consumers to rent and return outfits instead of buying new clothes. But fashion and logistics experts say the environmental impact of renting depends heavily on how people use these services. I haven't bought anything for a big occasion since 2019, said Sasha Eck, a user of clothing rental services. Along with giving her continuous and affordable access to newer, trendier clothes, she said renting formalwear made more sense than spending the equivalent of a month's rent on a dress she would only wear once. A recent survey from ThredUp suggests others face the same predicament, with the resale platform finding 87% of wedding guests said they had purchased at least one outfit they wore only once. Clothing rental services appear to be an environmentally ethical alternative. One garment can be worn by multiple people instead of being tethered to a single closet. But fashion and logistics experts say the reality of rental subscriptions is more complicated, especially once shipping, returns, and consumer habits are factored in. Read more. The promise and problem of rental. Fashion workers push carts loaded with goods past an employee who adjusts clothing on the mannequins at a fashion boutique in Beijing. Oct. 13, 2021. AP photo/Andy Wong. File workers push carts loaded with goods past an employee who adjusts clothing on the mannequins at a fashion boutique in Beijing. Oct. 13, 2021. AP photo/Andy Wong. File. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share Facebook. Copy link. Copied print. Email X. LinkedIn, Bluesky, Flipboard, Pinterest, Reddit. Read more. Kate Fletcher, a professor of sustainability, design, and fashion systems at Manchester Metropolitan University, said rental services can sometimes encourage the same mindset that drives fast fashion. In theory, the embodied resources within that garment get a chance to be worked harder by having that many more people wear it. And so that's the sort of compelling argument of it, she said. But Fletcher said many of those environmental benefits can be undermined by repeated shipping, returns, and cleaning. Arger Barber, a sustainability consultant and writer, said people often overlook the footprint of those processes. When you think about rental, you don't think about the packaging that comes every time you get something from rental. You don't think about the carbon footprint of shipping the item to you. And you certainly don't think about the carbon footprint of dry cleaning, said Barber. Still, both experts said rental services can have advantages in certain situations. If you are someone who occasionally has to wear occasion wear and you don't want to buy a dress that you're going to wear just once, I think it can be really impactful, said Barber. Fletcher pointed to older, more localized rental models, like with suit or gown rentals, where customers visited a shop, were fitted in person, and later returned the item. She said those systems often had a very different environmental profile than modern, app-based rental services that rely on repeated shipping. Why shipping matters. Brenda Thompson, Wright, loads packages into a container at the FedEx hub at Los Angeles International Airport. Deck 2, 2013, in Los Angeles. AP photo/EC. File. Brenda Thompson, Wright, loads packages into a container at the FedEx hub at Los Angeles International Airport. Deck 2, 2013, in Los Angeles. AP photo/EC. File. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share Facebook. Copy link. Copied print. Email X. LinkedIn, Bluesky, Flipboard, Pinterest, Reddit. Read more. The rise of online shopping has heightened the environmental effect of last-mile delivery. the final stage of transporting a package from a fulfillment center to a customer's home. Transportation is already one of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, said Johanna Ameyer, assistant professor of supply chain management at Pennsylvania State University. The more deliveries going to our homes, the more delivery that goes to our preferred location, the more that impact on the environment, said Ameyer. Rental services can also create an added logistical challenge because the process involves two trips, one to deliver the clothing and another to return it. Ameyer said fast shipping can also make delivery systems less efficient because companies have less time to consolidate packages into fuller routes. The longer they can wait to consolidate more orders and use the capacity of the delivery vehicles, the better, said Ameyer. She added that returning items to centralized locations, like parcel lockers or post offices, may be less environmentally impactful than home pickup services. So what should consumers do? Madeline Smith packages clothing for shipments as she works for Armoire, a clothing rental company based out of the Riveter, a women-focused shared workspace facility in Seattle. Jan. 11, 2019. AP photo/Ted S. Warren file Madeline Smith packages clothing for shipments as she works for Armoire, a clothing rental company based out of the Riveter, a women-focused shared workspace facility in Seattle. Jan. 11, 2019. AP photo/Ted S. Warren file. Add AP News on Google. Add AP News as your preferred source to see more of our stories on Google. Share Facebook, copy link, copied print, email, X linked in Bluesky, Flipboard, Pinterest, Reddit. Read more. Experts say renting can still be a better option in some situations, particularly for special occasion outfits that may otherwise only be worn once. But they also said consumers should think carefully about how often they are ordering, shipping, and returning clothing. Fletcher encouraged people to look within a wardrobe and yourself before you look without and try and get a new piece. Ameyer said consumers can reduce the environmental impact by avoiding rush shipping and choosing consolidated or pickup delivery options when possible. And the broader sustainability challenge in fashion cannot be solved by a single service or product alone, Fletcher said. For consumers trying to shop more sustainably overall, experts said some of the simple options may still be the most effective, like rewearing clothing, repairing items, swapping with friends, buying secondhand or donating pieces so they continue to be used. The best thing we can do is engage with fashion as a practice. So, a lived experience of what it is to be dressed, full of capabilities of who I can be in the world, and not as something to buy, Fletcher said. Fashion as shopping, that sort of idea of it, is something that industry has encouraged us to believe is the only way of engaging with fashion. And fundamentally, that's only going to lead to more climate impacts. The Associated Press climate and environmental coverage receives financial support from multiple private foundations. AP is solely responsible for all content. Find AP standards for working with philanthropies, a list of supporters and funded coverage areas at ap.org.